or Bacon family lived, as near as we can tell in our recorded history. Robin and Becky called her mom. I think that the 4 grandchildren probably called her grandma. And the 7 great-grandchildren, you guys called her Gigi, didn't they? Now, I suspect that most of the great-grandkids didn't know her very well because you're so young. Quincy and Campbell, being the oldest and living the closest to her, probably had an opportunity to see her more than the rest of the great-grandkids did. I wouldn't say. I had she was your great-grandmother. I had a great-grandmother too. Same great-grandmother that Robin and Becky had. We called her Nanny Bacon. And I tell you that because I want you to know a little bit about who she was. She was your great-great-great-grandmother. And so tonight I'm going to show you some pictures that she painted just so that you'll have a memory of who she was. We could talk to that this morning about the things that Elaine was involved in, her participation in her first congregational church in Redlands, her involvement with the ladies' orders of the Masonic Lodge, maybe even the fact that she worked for a company in Redlands where they made and assembled those white wing tabs that the dentist used to take x-rays of your teeth with. But that wouldn't really capture who your great-grandmother really was. And to do that, you have to go back to where she was raised, the location where she grew up. That was right here at Lake Elsinore. You can't see the lake right here, but I think maybe this afternoon we'll get that opportunity to see it. When Elaine was 3, her parents moved from Los Angeles to Lake Elsinore. And her parents, we call them Bobby and Nanny, in partnership with her in-laws, well, it was Nanny Shane's parents, bought a campground here on the shores of Lake Elsinore. And so Elaine, her sister, who was my mother, and their cousin, we called her Aunt Alice, those 3 girls grew up in this campground that their parents worked. So as kids, they got to play with all the kids that came to stay in the campground every summer and holidays, that kind of thing. There was a swimming beach on the lake. There was a boat dock, and it had rowboats on it. I can't think of a more idyllic place to grow up as a kid than in a place like that. So they did. They lived in one of 2 houses on the campground, and then the campground had 8 or 9 little cabins that people rented, or they could pitch their tents there. And they had a store where they could buy firewood and groceries, that kind of thing. And they had a gas station so that people could gas up their cars so they could drive back to Los Angeles again when their vacation was open. And when it came time for the girls to go to high school, well, the high school was right across the street from the campground. I thought it was interesting to learn Becky and Robin and I were talking about a week ago because I wanted to know some of the things that Elaine had done as a high school girl. And I was very surprised to learn that she had lettered in women's basketball. Who'd have pictured Elaine
Yeah.
in that picture?
No.
Playing basketball.
I didn't play them on the table.
I'm not sure which way it goes. Okay.
Yeah. Huh.
She lettered in women's basketball. She also played the bass fiddle in the school orchestra. And I cannot imagine her lugging around a fiddle, a bass fiddle. She, for 2 years in a row, was the editor of her high school yearbook. She was valedictorian of her graduating class. And being a valedictorian, it shouldn't be no surprise that she was a member of the California Scholarship Federation, CSF. And I know all you guys that grew up here in California know what that is. You got to wear the gold cords at graduation and the gold tassel on her cap. Well, after graduation, she was faced with the same question that all of us have had to answer when we got out of high school. What do you do next? Elaine went off to beauty college in Los Angeles, and when she earned her beautician certificate, she came back here to Elsinore and worked in a beauty parlor. Today, you girls would call it a salon. In those days, it was a beauty parlor. It was during that period of time, working here in Elsinore, that she met this guy named Bob Dillon. Well, Bob lived on the other side of the lake with his parents. And at that time, there was an old steamboat that cruised the lake, dinner cruises and that kind of thing. And they would go out, I guess, all summer long in the evenings, probably in the afternoons. Bob was the drummer in the dance band on the boat. That's how she got to know him. Well, in 1940, they got married. Bob had a job in the aircraft industry down in San Diego, so they moved down to Pacific Beach, suburb of San Diego. And then World War II came along. They didn't know it, but as the chaplain mentioned, they were about to become members of the greatest generation. Bob enlisted in the U.S. Navy. Because of his experience in the aircraft industry, he became a metalsmith in the Navy, which I guess in today's parlance of the Navy, he would be an aviation specialist who worked on aircraft airframes, wings, and bottoms of airplanes. Bob got shipped out to Kaneohe Naval Air Station in Honolulu. You know where that is. Marine Corps Air Base now. And spent the rest of the war out there doing just what I described. While Elaine continued, I'm not sure whether Elaine stayed in San Diego as a beautician. She did. Okay, she didn't come home. So when the war ended, Bob was eligible for the GI Bill. So they moved to Colorado, I think Colorado A&M, and he was in school for about a year. Because of his background in aircraft, and I think, times were tough then. Money was tight, and the lure of high salaries and the opportunity to get in the growing aircraft industry, he left school. They came back to San Diego, and he went to work for another company in the aviation business. That kind of set the tone for the rest of their lives. And at that point, their lives were intertwined, and they were a team in Bob's career in the what was then the growing aviation industry, and later became the space industry. because when he moved back here to Redlands for, I don't know, the second or third time and worked for Lockheed at what had been the old Mentone rocket plant. They were into the space stuff. Well, throughout this career, Bob and Elaine moved to a number of different cities. Coronado, Redlands, Albuquerque. Then as the aviation space business kind of began to mature and settle down, Bob worked for Lockheed. Lockheed had this big contract to build a pipeline, oil pipeline up in Alaska. So off they went to Fairbanks, Alaska. And then when the pipeline was completed, they came back down to San Francisco where they lived in Lafayette. And it was from there that they chose to retire, come back to Redlands. Redlands had always been kind of their home base because he'd been employed there several times. They owned houses in Redlands. And Bobby and Annie lived in Redlands. So that was a logical place for them to retire to. Bob got very active in the Masonic Lodge in Redlands, and consequently Elaine participated in the women's organization, Order of Eastern Star, and the White Shrine of Jerusalem, which were ladies' affiliates of the Masonic Lodge. She also really got involved in the First Congregational Church in Redlands. Bob died in 1989. Elaine continued in the activities that she had. But she had more time to spend with the grandkids, so she would be down here at Robbins. She would go up to Becky's in Northern California with the grandkids up there. You got to see a lot more. Finally, when Elaine reached the point that she knew she couldn't live alone for very many more years, she had to make a decision on where to go next, and she chose to come down to the nursing home in Anaheim or Fullerton, whichever it is. I guess the good thing was that she was sharp as a tack right up until the last year or so, maybe 2 years. She knew that she wanted to be married out here because Bobby and Nanny are here, and her husband Bob was here. So today, sadly, we're here to say our last goodbye to her. Thank you. Gotcha.